As always, we're going to be going over what are the 5 best rifles after the Season 3 update. This is going to be based off of initial impressions at the moment. Once we get some further testing done, we will make a longer video going over what the exact stats are. If you do enjoy this style of content, don't forget to subscribe. Starting off this list is the ISO Hemlock. Even though it did get a bit of a nerf for this update, it's not a huge nerf, and they never really nerfed the main thing of this weapon, which is the recoil control. So overall, it's still going to be a solid choice. Even though it doesn't kill the absolute quickest, it's still going to be a solid choice of weapon to use. In terms of the overall build, you do want to use whatever optic you prefer. I've got the tuning on screen just now. When it comes to the barrel, you do want to use a fielder barrel. Is the best one available when it comes to range and recoil control, and all the benefits you can see on screen at the moment as well. We are using the Harbinger D20 suppressor. This is the best suppressor for bullet velocity. It also does give you recoil control as well, but if you do want a more balanced approach for a suppressor, then I'd actually recommend the Zulu, which is the one I personally use, because it doesn't con your aim down sight nearly as much, and most of your gunfight engagement ranges shouldn't be super far anyway, so I would recommend the Zulu, but if you want the best bullet velocity, then the Harbinger is the better choice. Then we're using the FTAC Ripper for the underbarrel grip. You've got 2 choices here. You've either got the Ripper or you've got the Precision 40. So if you need a bit extra vertical control, then you can use this as well. So both are solid choices here. When it comes to the tuning, this is how I would tune the underbarrel grip there. And then you do need the 45 round mags. Next up is the TAQ-56. Now this actually in the patch notes said it got a headshot buff, but it's actually a nerf, but it's still a solid choice because again they didn't nerf the main thing of this weapon, which is recoil control. So it's still going to be a solid weapon, and they probably haven't like tanked the headshot damage or anything like that. So if you are mainly hitting torso shots, then you're not really going to notice too much anyway. So again, optic is whatever your preference is, and then the tuning is what you see on the screen just now. 60 round mags, or you can use the 40 if you play smaller game modes, but if you're playing quads or trios, then you will need the 60. The high velocity ammunition, now people actually use the barrel on this weapon, but this doesn't actually help with recoil control, so there's no point in using the barrel here. If you do choose the high velocity suppression, you get the best bullet velocity, and then what you want to do is move that bottom slider towards recoil steadiness, and it's going to give you recoil control benefits there that you can have. Now obviously you can slide that as far across as you want really, and you'll still get a huge bullet velocity bonus with this attachment, but I like to go kind of somewhere more balanced, and then obviously want to max out damage range because recoil smoothness doesn't do anything. Then you do want to use the FTAC Ripper once again. Again, you can go for the Precision 40 if you really wanted to. Attachment tuning is what you're seeing on screen just now as well. And then again, similar to before, Harbinger D20 is going to be the best for the velocity, and also it does give you some kind of recoil control benefits. But in my opinion, the Zulu suppressor is the best option for giving recoil control and a balanced amount of bullet velocity. So this is the one I would personally recommend over the one that gives you the best velocity. Next up is the Cronen Swirl, which is the new battle rifle which got added with the Season 3 update. It's not the meta gun when it comes to long range, but it's definitely a high skill meta weapon, and I do think it's a solid choice if you do want to try it out. It's definitely worth using. When it comes to mag capacity, obviously you need the largest mags. Precision 40 underbarrel grip is the best for this build in particular. This gun does have quite a bit of vertical recoil. Once I do get the tuning available, I will test out the Ripper with the tuning, but for now I do think just base attachments alone, the lock grip is the better choice here. Polar fire suppressor is going to be the best option. The Zulu, again, if you want that best balance, then take the Zulu instead, but if you want the best bullet velocity, then take the polar fire suppressor. And then we are using the best barrel here, which is the HR 6.8 barrel. Again, once we get the tuning and stuff, it will make the gun a little bit easier to use. And then we are using the Slumbling Pro, or you could choose whatever optic you prefer. Now this gun is very similar to the Ram 7 from the Warzone 1 game. Now obviously, like I said, I haven't got tuning on this, so it is going to look like it is a bit bouncier than usual, but once you get this perfectly tuned, you will be able to hit your shots. But as you can see, the recoil of this gun actually goes upwards and to the left, so you're going to need to counter that by going down to the right. So it does take a little bit of time to get used to, but once you can do it, you can still land your shots at a distance, as you can see here. Movement is not super slow, but it's definitely slower than what you'd find with the AR. The next gun is the SAKIN MG. Now surprisingly this gun never actually got a nerf, which is really weird even though it's the best LMG in the game right now. Maybe people are not using it enough and that is why it's not getting nerfed, but anyway, regardless it's still the best LMG, so if you do like LMGs this is the one that you should be using. Slumbling Pro with the attachment tuning you see on screen, again optics are preference. Then we are using the OLE laser. You do need this on this gun because most ARs aim down sight way quicker than this weapon, and attachment tuning is more towards movement, so sprint to fire and aim down sight speed. You still get decent recoil control by doing this anyway. Then we are using the best barrel for this gun, which is the Bruin Silver Series barrel. It helps with recoil control, it helps with bullet velocity and range, so all the benefits there. And then attachment tuning again for the bottom sliders more towards aim down sight speed, and then for the left hand side more towards recoil control. Then again we are using the Zulu suppressor in this case. I just think is the best choice, and you don't want to con the aim down sight of a LMG too much, so even though there are better bullet velocity suppressor options, you'd rather go for the one that's not going to con your aim down sight too much. And then again more towards movement and more towards recoil control here. Bullet velocity on LMG is already quite good in this game. And then we are using the Bruin Warrior grip, which is the best option anyway, again with the attachment tuning you see on screen just now. So the only issue with LMGs really is that the movement is quite slow, but as you can see the recoil control on this gun is very easy to do. So you can pretty much land your shots at a distance very easily with this build. If you had a higher zoom optic you'll be a bit more precise with your shots. And last and not least, we've got a gun that I think is very underrated inside Warzone 2 at the moment, and that is the M4. Now, as a balanced weapon, the M4 is a very solid choice. I've been using it with the iron sights, and yes, there's quite a bit of visual recoil in this game, and they tried to kind of reduce it with the update, but I don't really think they have actually done anything with the visual recoil, to be honest. But even still, you can land your shots with the M4 with this build, and it's just overall a very solid weapon to use even as a sniper support if you really want to go that way, especially with the recent sniper buff. We will be making a whole video dedicated to sniper supports, but for the meantime you can use this build if you need to. So 60 round mags, a must. You can choose 45 if you play the smaller modes. FTAC Ripper, once again, it is one of the best under barrel grips, and then this is the tuning for it as you can see on screen just now. Again, Zulu suppressor, we do have the Harbinger D20 for this as well for the best velocity, but you don't need that, especially with a balanced build like this. The Zulu suppressor will be the better option, and this is going to give you better control and less of a con to aim down sight time. High tower barrel is the best barrel for this gun. There is pretty much no other barrel you should be using on the M4 in my opinion. Attachment tuning is as you see on screen just now, and then we're using the laser as well, so we get a bit more idle stability and things. But you also can push the slider more towards aim down sight speed if you need to. That one you can play around with, but definitely the left hand side slider, make sure you go more towards sprint to fire speed, and that is the perfect build for the M4. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.